on mute. There we go. Now you can hear me. Welcome back to Planet Lizzdom. This is the beauty of live broadcast. Sometimes crazy things happen. We try different things. We move things around. And sometimes I put myself on mute. I want to thank you all very much for coming back to tune in with me at, week to week. I see so many familiar faces online, and it's a nice honor and a nice treat to get to connect with all of you. For those of you who are tuning in for the very first time, Planet Lizzdom is a show designed for you, the creators, the entertainers, the entrepreneurs, the innovators. And, one thing that has rung true this entire year is that, yes, the stage disappeared, but it didn't disappear entirely. It's changed, and it's changed for so many wonderful, wonderful ways. And this is one of them. We have a wonderful way to broadcast and connect with all of you, and it's very exciting and crazy times. This time last year, I didn't know what Zoom was, let alone StreamYard or any of these other apps. And, something that I've really, really grown to love and enjoy this year is the ability to put together a show. And one of my biggest supporters from the beginning has been a wonderful director and DJ, an iconic Rocktopia personality that I've known for more than half my life. And I'm so honored to bring him here to you tonight, direct straight from Los Angeles. Guys, I want you to give a big round of applause and warm welcome to my friend, iconic Rocktopia director and DJ, Mars Roberge. Mars, how are you?
Good, pretty good. Flying, trying to get to Planet Lizzdom today, and this is as close as I could get.
Well, you know what? Thank you so much for using the private chat, because I really did not realize that I was muted.
Hey, I'm getting old, so I thought maybe I'm losing my hearing. What a good time for that to happen, right? I need subtitles from you if that's the case,
Well, and that's the way it goes sometimes. I mean, the truth of the matter is it's live to air. What can you do?
Yeah.
Now, many people know who you are. Many people don't know who you are. And you go by a couple of different names. You go by Mars Roberge, but you also go by DJ Mars.
That's correct. And I was DJ Mars before DJ Mars. And, we'll talk about that. But at one point I was trying to distinguish between different types of DJ styles. And I ended up doing a party where I was DJ Mars, and that party went on forever. And that just became my DJ persona and music persona for a long time. And my actual real name that not a lot of people realize is Marcel Roberge. I'm French Canadian, so
oh yeah, that's right. You know what? I'm French Canadian too. My last name is de Savoie, but I go by Lizzdom.
Yeah, no, it's true. And you know what? I didn't speak French growing up, other than what we learned in school. All my relatives did. So I went to Paris like about a year ago, a little bit before COVID, on a honeymoon, and it was like growing up where everybody assumes I speak French and they talk French around me, and I assume I know what they're saying, and I kind of think I do, and I get by. And that was that's the deal, So
Mon Dieu.
Yeah, the less I say, the more they think I know stuff, and they'll just have full conversations with me and leave, and I think, well, I did my job,
It's funny. I actually got to know you as a DJ, and it's remarkable to me that we were able to have the conversations that we did because the music would be so loud. I got to know you at Catch 22 in the mid to late 90s, and I remember I always used to request the most bizarre songs from you, because nobody still to this day can dance to Curious Orange by the Fall, except for me and my best friend Kimberly.
I thought about you when Marky Smith passed away a couple years ago. Yeah, it was like
I know. I was so sad about that. But I mean, you really, your nights were the most fun nights in the city for me. For the longest time, I just would make sure on my calendar that I was available to come out to your night wherever it was.
Thank you. Yeah, they meant a lot to me as well. Like, it was like a big thing, and everything's coming in full circle in my life right now, because I realize, like, there's some things, you get away from things, and then there's just things that make you tick, and things that you just like doing that you'd actually pay to do, and stuff. And I'm kind of going back in the whole circle of that. And watching your intro to the show, I got to admit, like, there was a point, we've been friends for so long, that there was a point when I was living in New York where I didn't hear from anybody, and I didn't get any mail from anybody. But like, it was kind of the point where I was happy to see junk mail. I went to my house because nobody knew where I was, But I got your Rabbit, I got your comic books, your Peter Rabbit, and it's cool to see that. Hey, he's an animation now, and like you're going full force with all this stuff. So from a fanzine to a TV show to a book now, which I bought today.
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, it's a full circle because I had your buttons all the time on my coats when I lived in New York.
Did you really wear them?
Yeah, I wore them. People give me stuff if they invite me to things. Right now anyway. Like I usually do it. For sure.
No, that's so cool. And Mars, I have to thank you. You never let me stop being an artist. You were one of the few people that would send me mail as well. And you were always like, what are you doing, Liz? What art are you doing? You're not allowed to stop. You're too creative. And I thank you for that because, if it weren't for you and your constant motivation and push, we probably wouldn't be sitting here. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it. I remember when you came to Toronto to premiere your film for The Little House That Could, which was about your time working at Patricia Fields, which is so cool.
Yeah, that was my first feature film, shot between 2006 and 2013 with basically home movie cameras in New York, me and Bob Lesser. And, it kind of launched my path in being a filmmaker. I worked in film for decades before that, just doing, every kind of job, but never like saying, hey, I'm a filmmaker. And that film kind of, I made it. And put it this way, it's opening up the 50th anniversary of a major theater in New York, a playhouse called Theater of the New City for Lower East Side Festival of the Arts on May 29th. On Saturday, May 29th at noon. So it's a free screening if anybody's in New York at that time. It's just pretty crazy. My first film is like the one playing a film festival this year and is like playing, it was shot in 2006 and it's playing in 2021 and it premiered at Frameline, which is the oldest LGBTQ film festival in the world in San Francisco. It played there in 2013. So yeah, all my films are kind of still having a life of its own, which is a cool thing.
It is such a cool thing. And I mean, if it's okay with you, I would love to show a trailer for that because it stole my heart. I remember roaring in the audience at some of the things that you were capturing on film. And one of my favorite stories before I show this clip was the story of Patricia Fields one night, 4 a.m, had to fix her muffler on her vehicle before she had to be on set for Sex and the City. And what is she using to fix it? An Hermes scarf. And that was just the most punk shit ever.
Yeah, it was like when I was there, like I worked at that store as a stylist for, decade. And being, you get thrown, you can't get more thrown into fashion than being the main stylist at Patricia Field, the Sex and the City stylist, Emmy award-winning stylist boutique, where all my coworkers were from the gay community, and they're like, we're helping the guys, you help all the girls, so what does that mean? Who are my customers? There's a girl named Britney Spears, Paris Hilton, Juliette Lewis, etc., etc., etc. And I gave all these people their looks during the 90s. I was the guy responsible for low-cut jeans. I was this and that. I had all the big, like a lot of the fashion companies kind of trying to bribe me because they knew if I put stuff on girls, that's gonna be a thing. And I didn't capitalize on it because it was just a job. It would be like working at Siren on Queen Street or something. Like that's how I looked at it. But it was a great place for connections, which I ended up utilizing for life, and most of these people became my friends for life. So.
And Mars, you can see that there is so much love in this film, and I want to show everybody the trailer, and we will, again, give everybody the information to come watch it in New York, if they're there, and there are other ways to be able to watch this film as well. But everybody, check out this trailer, The Little House That Could. So amazing.
It wasn't just a story. It definitely has that super creative force.
Working next to thugs and trannies and drag queens and cross-dressers.
It's the old school New York. It's the real New York.
We were always the misfits of fashion.
We were doing all the work for all of the stylists in New York.
And the inspiration of all those amazing kids, new kids, talented kids.
They flew off the shelves and flew on to Gwen Stefani and the Backstreet Boys and Paris Hilton, and Pat made the magic happen.
They're fun, they're stylish, they have an edge.
Like Pat would see that girl.
She was a magnet, and she still is, for special kinds of people.
The closest thing to working in a nightclub.
This is how the good Lord works.
But
everybody's Madonna. I'm like, but the syrup was 12.
To hand in my paperwork with my ass out, and then I would be happy.
I did accidentally set the store on fire.
Hatfield is the gay mother to downtown New York City.
A lot of us are already outcasts, and she's embraced us.
So I had nobody, I didn't know anybody. I had like 2 resumes, fake resumes.
So now that I had a way to support myself that I liked, I called my parents and I said, I'm not coming home. How about coming to visit me for Christmas? Since I'm living here now.
This is like a studio of artists. You can't duplicate that all over the globe like a Kmart.
One time we decided to put Lady Bunny herself in the window. It was hysterical.
Oh my gosh, sorry, I was so into that I completely forgot that we were watching.
It's funny, I'm always grooving to that song too, and I liked it so much, that song, which is by somebody named Princess Frank, that I had to make him the lead star in my next feature film, Scumbag, based on this, you know. It was like, it's kind of like everything kind of ties in circle, because some things you feel the feeling right through the screen and stuff. And I gotta say, every project I start, whether it's a DJ event, a band project, a music producing project, a film project, it always starts from love from somewhere. Like I can't do things in spite or whatever. It has to be from love. So that movie was kind of like, there were too many people that passed from the world, from the Little House That Could, and too many people that I knew probably aren't going to be around, that they need their story told. And that's why I did it using anything I could. All that stuff, all that footage with Patricia Field was shot with my Android phone at the time on a shopping cart with you know, like a little clothes peg attached to it. And, you know, that's how we did it. And it's funny because, you know, there's been giant major studio film crews that tried doing stuff on her forever while I worked there, and nothing ever got off the ground. But my film played around the world. It was used to raise money for AIDS awareness in South America and Brazil and all kinds of stuff. And it was all based on in love. And you know, I don't forget the people that helped me get to where where I'm trying to go, like yourself. I made Scumbag after that, and Scumbag did really well, and it didn't have many people from the Little House That Could. It had a few, but then I came back, and it's like, well, you know what? I'm really good with my production now, and I know a lot more what I'm doing. I want to bring the Little House That Could people back, you know, for now, and say, look, I'm not done with you. Let's do something big. And that's where Mr. Sister comes in. Half the people from Mr. Sister have cameo appearances in the documentary, The Little House That Could.
Oh, cool. I want to talk more about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, let's move on to Scumbag, because, again, another excellent film. In fact, that was, I believe, where the term Rocktopia became coined for you.
Yeah, so, you know, Rocktopia is something, you know, a manifesto I had, where it's like you have to have over 200 cast members, and there has to be 3 songs in the movie based on but performed by people in the movie, and there has to be people that are musicians in the movie playing roles that are opposite to who they're known for. I made this big manifesto, kind of influenced by Harmony Korine and his like Dogma manifesto. I'm like, okay, this is a Rocktopia manifesto, because I want to give people a challenge if they want to make a movie like this. And you know, I gotta say, Mr. Sister's not a Rocktopia film. It's pretty close. It has pretty much everything going for it musically and stuff, but it doesn't have a cast of 220 people. It has a cast of 125 people, you know, which is a lot to pull out in New York. You know, it's hard to get people to leave their jobs and do stuff in New York to come out and work with you. In LA, not as hard, but yeah.
And you had a lot of people in your cast. I mean, you had everybody from Ron Jeremy to, I believe, Michael Alec in it?
Yeah, Michael Alec was in it, who passed away, you know, on Christmas, unfortunately.
He did.
You know, I've gotten slack from some of the people I put in my movie, but let's face it, what's the movie called? It's called Scumbag. I want real people that would play a cool role that would be like, you know, and I thought I'd rather see Michael Alec as the mean, crazy boss than I would, an A-list actor that has no business being in a movie like this. Hollywood is snobby to the indie world, but I'm snobby to Hollywood. I'm from Hellowood. I'm not from Hollywood. It's a coin that Bruno Wizard from the band The Homosexuals in England called us in like the papers and stuff. So I'm part of, I guess I'm running this thing called Hellowood movement in LA right now. And there's not a huge underground film movement in Los Angeles.
Is that the way to spell it there?
Yeah.
Hollywood? Okay, that's really cool, actually. I like that.
Yeah, that's what they call us, It's not that we're Satanists or whatever. It's just like that. It's kind of like the hell with Hollywood. This is what we're doing. But, at the same time, I'm not going to bash Hollywood, Yeah. Like some of my favorite films are like, I hate to say it, but like Forrest Gump and The Wizard of Oz. I don't think an indie filmmaker could have made those films on the same like level, But at the same time, I don't think, and I won't name names, but there was a film that ripped me off, which I'm not going to name here. I don't want to give them any credit, but I think our film, they might have done better financially, but this is the film that's still being talked about everywhere because it has everybody in it. Every major punk personality, any kind of band. You got the Cramps, you guys were talking about the Cramps on your show last week. I got Kid Congo Powers in this. My new film, I have Jim Sclavunos who used to be in the Cramps, who's in Nick Cave now, and so like it goes from the Cramps to Fishbone to Circle Jerks to, it was everything. And I even had the official voice of Apple in there. So it's like it's like a crazy party that I can't fit in my house. I put in my movies, and that's what Scumbag was about. So, I pick real people for the parts. When I base my characters, I'll look for good actors, and I do get good actors, but I also find people that are the person, and it's like, all right. Just want you to be you, and I'm going to train you to not forget who you are because I don't want you to act. New York, there's a thing where they love to do this like theater acting thing, and I'm like, we're not going to do this theater thing in my films because I want it to be real. Film is to me a real thing, and to me, if you can make a film that looks like a documentary that's not a documentary, then I've done my job. When you watch kids, you think, oh, is this a documentary when you're watching it? Is this real? Is this like live footage? And that's kind of the feeling. That's like the world of filmmaking I'm from, where I want it to be like Mr. Sister might be that guy all the time. You don't know.
That's true. That's true. Something that I really loved about Scumbag was that I think, it was a bit autobiographical about your time in Toronto and some of the crazy things that happened. And I know that you always have a great story around your production, things that happened, making the film, releasing the film, shopping it around. Was there anything about Scumbag that really kind of stood up in your mind that was just so extraordinary?
In the making of it or
in the making of it, in going to different festivals to show it around.
It's just one of these things like say The Little House That Could. I have Cody Ravioli. Some of the last moments people are going to remember. She's not with us today. Is her talking in this movie. I had one actor make up with Patricia Field. I won't name them by saying nice things about them in that movie, and it mended their friendship through my film. With Scumbag, I had Goddess Bunny, who's like really famous, transsexual, she in a wheelchair, she was really famous. She was part of Los Angeles forever, as much as Angeline, I think, is, and no disrespect in that way, but she was in everybody's music videos from Marilyn Manson to Dr. Dre and stuff. And this was the last movie she did. And I was the one that gave her a chance and brought her out and said, let's do this movie, And as soon as she passed, every blogger, everybody, every paper around the world raving on about how great of a person, how much they loved her, and that I'm like, wow, I gave her the job, you did. I don't need to be told what's cool. If I see something cool, I know it's cool, and I want it part of my world in my in my films, you know, and that's kind of how I feel. Like I'm like, I had Michael Alec, I had God is Funny, you know, I tried to give Michael Alec a chance. That was what I did. You know, it didn't really work out, but I know I tried, and I tried for my friend Kiyoki, you know, who said, put him in your movie. And Kiyoki did a lot of things to help me out when I was in New York. So, you know, I'm like, I remember my friends, and I take that over, you know, public opinion, so to say. Like, I lost some friends for putting him in my movie. And I'm like, well, those are the kind of friends I don't really want as friends. I want friends that go, look, I don't know what you're doing, but you're trying to do your art as well as you can, Mars. I don't understand it, but I support you, you know, just don't put me around that person. Like, I've had my real friends would say stuff like that, you know? So there were like magical moments, you know, and it's just how it worked out. Like, I'd say a third of that cast from Scumbag, we shot it over an entire year. So I would meet somebody as I'm shooting, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to write a scene and put that person in, you know, and that's kind of how it worked. And Scumbag, you know, we had a world premiere at Rotterdam, and we played like back to back with Moonlight, that won the Academy Award for Best Picture that year. And then like the film right after me was like Jim Jarmusch debuting his movie. So it's like we're on that par with that kind of level of movies, but it's like Hollywood doing it. So it was a really nice thing for the cast and all of us. And I just want to tell this cast that's in the movie, because most of the people don't know what I'm going to say today, because of COVID, I've been locked away. I have been a recluse for quite some time, Deborah and me. And Scumbag is actually picked up by a distributor that I'm going to name a little later. I'll name them now. Mr. Sister got picked up by Arsenal Pictures, and Arsenal Pictures is also going to distribute Scumbag in Europe. We have a deal with Byron Allen's company, Freestyle Digital Media in North America, but they're going to push it in Europe, but they're going to push the director's cut, which includes an extra scene from me with an extra famous actor, more famous than the rest of the cast probably, and that's going to be included in the new movie. So if you didn't hear about Scumbag before, you're definitely going to hear about that. And I made sure I kept the rights for theater, so if I want to come, say, to Toronto or New York or LA and do like a projection of the movie in a theater, I got full range, so I can do these like cool kind of parties and make it a Rocky Horror Picture Show kind of event, you know, which is cool, because I'm glad I held out for that part in my contracts.
Wow! Please keep me posted. I'm going to tell everybody about that. That is so cool. Can I throw right at the screen?
Yeah, and our distributor Arsenal Pictures for Mr. Sister. It's weird getting picked up before we've played anywhere. You know, it's a good feeling. It's a great feeling, because it's like I'm telling the cast, look, our movie's so good, we didn't have to play anywhere. We're picked up by the same company that has Get Carter with Sylvester Stallone and Emily with what is it? The Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and like movies with like Bruce Willis and like what was that? Halle Berry film Kidnap. Like we're in with these films to play around the world and stuff right now. So Mr. Sister, which I'll be talking about later, is coming out we're aiming for June 15th. For North America, so you'll be able to see it in Canada and everywhere. I don't know much more than that. I don't know if we're playing theaters or we're just VOD or whatever. We're going to do special screenings, but that's what's going on right now with that.
That's so cool. And it's funny that you had mentioned Rocky Horror Picture Show, because I was channeling Frankenfurter today. I was like, how can I look like a demented, surgeon? Because quite frankly, you know, 'tis the season. And I figured, you know, if I'm going to talk to, you know, such a Rocktopia icon and Hollywood contender as you are, I need to be a little bit extra. So
if I ever opened a store, I'd say World Domination Pictures, which is my film company. In fact, we just launched the website today. Finally, I realized I need a film website, you know, which is worlddomination.pictures. I love the fact that I can put .pictures. Like, I didn't even know there was a .pictures besides a dot. But that's our address. It just launched today. You can check it out and check out everything we're doing. But you know, if I had a slogan, it would be like from the streets up, you know, because it's like that's where we start. We start everything from the streets, and I always want to keep that foot in the street store, because like I need real people. I need real things. I don't want anything pampered down, and I write about stuff that I know and see. Little House That Could was my life that I lived, for 10 years at working for Patricia Field. Scumbag was about an awful telemarketing company I worked for right behind City TV, that got shut down in the 90s, and some of the people have passed, like the person that the Elmo character passed, it was such a hard life. And that movie was therapy for me because it was like, I would go into these telemarketing flashbacks when I'd talk to people, their girlfriends or whatever, and they would like not get what I'm talking about. And it would be these awful jokes, and it would be like an aunt. And I realized, whoa, I'm kind of like, it's like going to the army. These, like, you telemarket for 7 years. It's like going to the army where it's like, I'm in this mode that only telemarketers can get these jokes in this, like, we've been traumatized, So it got me out of the drama by making that movie and be in a theater and have people laugh at essentially my agony. I'm like, well, it's funny now, I'm not a drug addict and I'm not a drunk. In fact, I'm 20 years sober this year, but like at that time, I almost took my life because that was like, it was like a crazy world to be in. It's like, I'm going to go to my job and get yelled at by a billion people and tell me that I'm an awful human being. Meanwhile, I got a degree from York University Film School, and I just like, it was just a downward spiral, but somehow I kept my foot in the film door where I'm an editor for Black Walk music videos, working on like bare naked ladies videos and stuff in the day. Oh man. And I remember, I think I got, I had a career as a video editor for a place called Black Walk. At the time, Canada, being Canadian American dual citizen, born in Scarborough, they had a program called Futures. I don't know if they still have it there, but you could walk into some office, I think it was on King Street, and just say, I want to sign up, and they'll pay you minimum wage to go and work for anybody you want to work for if you came out of school. So I walked in there, I'm like, it's not going to cost you, I'll work for you guys. So I ended up being everything from an extra to caterer to editor or whatever, and that's where I learned everything about film, working for Black Walk. But my boss at the time, who was kind of like this married man, a little conservative, he said, I don't understand, Mars. You keep giving me these S&M vampire flyers. I don't know. Do you want a career or do you want a party? And I said, I got to use the bathroom. And I walked out of my career and walked right into the telemarketing company, and my world spiraled downwards. I worked at the goth bars on Queen Street and, Death in the Underground and everything else. And like, it was all about, like, I don't know. I had fun in the clubs, but the day jobs were pretty bad. I made friends with interesting people. A lot of them are still my friends today, but that's what happened. Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's look at this trailer for Scumbag so people can see just how interesting your circle of friends and coworkers were. Folks, this is Scumbag.
Every new year, I tell myself this year is going to suck, just like it did last year, and I'm never disappointed.
I didn't piss on them. It was hot. We took our pants off. We had a sword fight.
You stop following me, or I'll rip your head off!
Ever since you got that job.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Yeah, I need a job.
Hi, Mary. How are you today?
Don't touch it. You're not allowed to look out this month.
My mama made me so wild oats. I made love with a back stroke. Unafraid, unabashed, 'cause I'm proud. Let's get together for the rough down. I'm
You better not touch him or I'll get you, big meanie.
Big meanie?
Are you still in Prozac?
Yeah. You want some?
Sure, can burn those bongs. I heard you got a hot date tonight. I got a date with dynamite. If you got the guts, we'll light my match. I got an itch that you can scratch.
So, what are you in here for anyway?
Why does everybody keep asking me that like I'm in jail?
You don't seem like the rest of us.
You and I, were scumbags, toner pirates. Those guys are full-on criminals.
We should talk, but not here.
All I'm saying is, get out while you can.
Disappear, scumbag.
You're calling me a scumbag? How dare you?
Have a nice day. Good luck on the job. So long.
Oh, I love it. I forgot how many amazing people were in this film. Like Nick Zed. I forgot he was in it. He's amazing.
Yeah, he's really our biggest star, I think, you know, and I flew him in from Mexico City. And again, when I flew him in, I'm like, isn't this like normal for you? He's like, no, I never get brought to Hollywood. No, like they never cast me in this stuff. I'm like, well, you know, I don't know why. You're cool. You should be. They should know you, you know. So I kind of associate myself with more filmmakers like him and Jonas Mikos and that New York kind of underground thing that went on. I'm not a cinema of transgression filmmaker like he is, but it's like we're kind of from the same worlds. We do what we want to do, you know. And he was a great guy, you know. And you know, I base my relationships on how people act towards me, you know, and he was cool. You know, he's the real deal. He's like, I can only wish I could dress as cool as him and be a filmmaker.
And he is such a cool dude. Oh my God. Like,
and you know that the song, the opening song to that trailer is Toronto's own Danko Jones, who I went to film school with at York University. And it also stars Spooky Rubin, another guy from Toronto that moved to LA that's, you know, I went to film school with, you know, so it's like, it was a fun film. You got Nina Hartley, everybody, you know, and
so good.
And when I approach these people, I approach them as fans. It's like, look, I think you're cool. I want you to be in my movie. And I've had so many, you know, I don't know. I'm not afraid of anything. Put it this way, like maybe that's a New York thing or whatever, or maybe as I'm pushy or whatever. But when I have a goal set, I want to do it. And either people are going to be part of this army and be my friends for life, or they're going to be against me, you know, or not in my world. And when I did that movie, I went up to Ringo Starr on the street and I asked him to be in my movie, and then we got an argument. You know, it's like, oh, you think you're too cool or whatever. You know, I saw Caveman. I'm doing you a favor, dude. Like. You could have been there. Like people were watching this, but it's like after that conversation, it's like I'm not afraid to approach anybody. It's like, ooh, you know, Brad Pitt or somebody. It's like I got yelled at by Ringo Starr on a street corner. You know,
I mean, check that off your bucket list. You know,
but there were many people that I approached for that movie. Like I almost had the main manager was going to be the same character that played the Beaver from Leave It to Beaver. You know, he was about to do it, but I think his management finished reading my script, and they're like, "I don't know, man. Like some of the stuff they talk."
But you cool. Jerry Mathers?
Jerry Mathers, yeah. You know, and you know, there were many people like that. You know, but you know, it's like, why would I get Jerry Mathers? That's like, well, I grew up eating lunch watching him on TV, so I'm like, I need to know him.
Absolutely. What a better excuse, you know? Hey, Beeb, I'm making a movie. You want to be in it?
Yeah, I almost had him, you know, but you know, it's one of these things, you know. So yeah, so that's
maybe for the next one, you know,
moments.
Well, you know, and what I love about Scumbag is that, you know, it is such an ensemble cast, and you know, the subject matter and your approach to it really is different because you do feel like you're watching a documentary. You know, it really does kind of have that gritty realism to it and that Rocktopia element to it. And I really, you know, I'm so excited for Mr. Sister having seen Scumbag. And quickly before we go to that, you know, when Scumbag premiered in Toronto, I had a hard time getting in because my ticket for some reason didn't work and you were sold out. And I had to sweet talk security to come get you to bring me in. Because it was so popular.
Better. I had relatives that drove for like 9 hours from Sudbury or however long it was, and I had to pay to get them in.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, I think I did. Sorry if I didn't. You know, it was crazy.
There was literally a lineup around the block. Like it was a big deal.
Yeah, and Mr. Sister would be like that if we can do screenings. We're just like waiting on this COVID thing, you know. It's, you know, my distributor they want to put this out soon, you know. So June 15th is when it's coming out, and you know, maybe we'll do some live screenings up around that time. I'm not sure yet.
Also, Just to quickly ask, June 15th, how can people see this?
Well, that's all being worked out in the big leagues with the, behind the closed doors right now.
All
So
right.
I'll let you know when we have news on it. But in the meantime, you can go to MrSisterNYC.com. You can follow us on Instagram at MrSisterNYC. In fact, Facebook, Twitter, we're all Mr. Sister NYC. And or my new website, worlddomination.pictures. We'll give information on news when it will be playing. And, it's exciting.
It's very exciting. I don't know what I want to do first. Do I want to play the trailer or have you talk about Mr. Sister a little bit and lead us into it?
Yeah, I can say a little bit. So, Mr. Sister it's about a human connection where people have to learn to accept one another and lift each other up. And I got that from, being part as a straight man. I was like part of the House of Field in New York, which was like Patricia Field's gang of essential drag queens, transsexuals, gay people, lesbians, the whole LGBTQ plus community. And they welcomed me with open arms when I was going through my downward spiral, didn't judge me. I had like Amanda Lepore calling me DJ Mars, and I call her Amanda Lepore, and I'd be like, what do you do? And she'd be like, I'm the #1 transsexual in the world. And I'd be like, well, I'm the Antichrist of dance music. And I went all out with the horns and the makeup and everything, kabuki makeup. Once I started spinning in New York, I felt more, I guess I could be myself and not have to worry and play whatever I want. There were always cool people like you in Toronto, but it's kind of like you're on the goth scene. You work at those clubs and you stay on that side of the street. You're at the house music scene. You dress like this. But then when I got to New York, you got like guys like Hioki spinning techno mixed with Bad Brains and gothic songs to like a crowd of like yuppies mixed with club kids and everything. Like I fell into the club kids scene, but I was part of the club kids as soon as they had to get other jobs. I worked with them at that other job. Richie Rich, all these people were like my coworkers, So it was like, being part of that community, I also had to deal with all the craziness. I saw a lot of judgment. And I saw judgments even within their scene. It's like you don't hear about. You think about like Toronto, the gay community, all bonds. Maybe you have the lesbian community and the gay community, and then they get together for Gay Pride Day or whatever, Pride Day, and have a party. But like they respect one another. In New York, there's some snobbery. Like it's like you're a freak. I'm a bodybuilder. I'm successful. You work in stores and stuff. And there was like this whole thing. And I guess I was around the freak world, I guess the more creative world. And I just saw it. But like also the homophobic stuff still happened, like I would get it. Like back then I used to wear a lot of glitter makeup and that's how I got the job. They assumed I was like a drag queen or something because, hanging out with that Robin Black scene and my band, The Millionaires and everything, we did the whole MAC makeup and the bovine scene. And that was like a glam rock scene in Toronto. And you show up as a glam rock kid from Toronto and you show up, I'm got sidetracked here, but
I got excited because Wolfman's like, I remember you.
So basically, when you show up as a glam rocker from Toronto in New York, you end up they assume you're a gay hustler. That's like prostitutes yourself or something. So then you get a job working at a clothing store with some people that did that stuff, and because of that, I was the one that was picked on by like homophobic people a lot, like on the subway and stuff. I had to fight off kind of gay bashers. I had to deal with it. And I had to protect friends from it. And I had to like, so it was kind of like the movie is like, it's about a boy from Milwaukee that is suicidal and ends up in New York. Just by sheer coincidence, a weird deal. I'm not going to give that part away, but he ends up having to get taken up from being a homeless kid to being helped by a drag queen played by Her Royal Highness Princess Diana, one of the biggest legends in the drag community in New York or the world ever, you know. And she got to grace us in our movie, Mr. Sister, and I picked her because I said, I want the real deal. I want the one that everybody's trying to be, and you're the one everybody's trying to be. So I want to put you in my movie. So anyways, this character basically introduces her to her friends and helps him essentially become a straight guy. You like help him on his way. They're not trying to make him one of the girls. They're like, look, we feel bad for you. Whether you're a human being, and we want to help you. And so they basically, he learns from the LGBTQ community the courage to stand up for himself, the courage to pursue his dreams, the courage to pursue a relationship with a single tap dancing mom played by Deborah Hayden, who's, you know, she was the star of Scumbag. She did such a good job. I had to marry her. And she, yeah. So that's essentially what the movie's about. It's about it's about acceptance. You know, learning to accept one another. You know, we saw it with all the rallies over the last year and stuff. It was about, you know, without getting political, it's just about like. And I don't get political ever because I want my audience always to. I want everybody to be able to just forget everything they're going through and have a good time in the movie theater. They might like the movie, they might not like the movie, but I'm going to give them what I deem as real. I'm going to put it up there, and you can say it. So I had a lot of people tell me, "Oh, I don't like Scumbag. It was offensive." I'm like, "Well, I'm glad you said that because I lived it and it was offensive." You know, like I'm glad, thank you for not making me feel crazy. And they always are like, "You're fine with that?" I'm like, "Yeah, as long as you watched it, you know, like and you got an opinion, you know. You can't. The one thing is you can't say my films are like somebody else because I'm not those filmmakers trying to be other films, which is most of Hollywood. I'm not trying to be a director. I can only know how to be myself. To me, you can't make art wrong if you make it true to what yourself is. You know, like this, my films say Guy J. Mars, or they say Mars Roberge on them, and they literally do say it because it's like, that's my humor. That's who I am. Those are my thoughts. Those are my conversations. That's what I've seen, and that's what it is, you know. So it's like you're gonna either love my movies or hate them, but there's not really a middle ground, you know.
Absolutely. Well, let's take a look at the trailer because I want everyone to kind of see what to expect for the next chapter of Mars Roberge. This is Mr. Sister, which is scheduled to come out June 15th to be determined.
Hey, it's me. I'm in New York. Probably not for long.
Bitch, I can't!
To make it in New York City, first you gotta be a man to be a woman!
Somebody wanna tell me what the hell is that? Why is there a tired drag queen dressed like a nun on my runway?
Baby, you straight?
Yeah. I don't want anybody recognizing me.
This has been one weird night.
Who are you supposed to be? Mr. Sister?
That's Mr. Sister.
What we got over here at the bar? Oh, fresh meat. Hi, sweetie.
You're like a straight drag queen. Is there like a name? Is this like a genre or something?
Well, my friend Jasmine just calls me weird.
Did anybody ever tell you your ass looks like 200 pounds of chewed up bubble gum?
I think it's pretty punk rock.
I own this place. So what you did up there?
I don't actually work here at my house. Hold this hoe.
Hold this hoe. Come here. Come here.
Picture. That's the impressive bitch.
OMG, you were amazing. I want you to come back and do it again.
You want me to come back here and get drunk and high and insult people?
$200 cash a night, 300 on the weekends. Sounds all right.
I love New York.
The customer is always wrong. You're in charge. And little patty pussies and kinky straights from New Jersey are at the bottom of the food chain.
We swing. I have a little money, not that much, but I'm hot for a nun with a, schlong. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, I mean, I'll do anything in bed. She's like a porn star. In fact, she is a porn star. So what do you say we take a path train to my heart?
I wish I had your courage. You're like steel out there.
Yeah, my dad always said I'd make a really great mean nun one day.
Oh, shoot. I gotta get going, but it was really nice meeting you.
Yeah, it was nice to meet you too, Marie.
I'm just trying to earn a living like everybody else. You know, get my mother out of jail, get my father that sex change operation he's always wanted, and get my kid brother Mikey that great crystal glass scrap.
Oh man, I love the music that you have chosen for this trailer. I was totally getting so into it, and I realized, oh, the trailer's done. I want more.
Thanks. You know, believe it or not, like that, if I were to rate the music in the whole movie, that would probably be the least. Like the music just gets better and better, and the composer for my movie, Linda Lamb, she's amazing. She's like amazing, and it doesn't do her justice, the amazing stuff that she does later on in the film, but it was so good I didn't want to give it away, you know. And so you got to see them. There are killer songs, and my cast are amazing, but like the main actor, Jack James Busa, he deserves an Academy Award for this. Like I'll put him up against any actor any day, and he got brought on like with very limited time, and he was a trained actor in theater, and so was Michael Musto, who, by the way, it was great for him to come out. And it does work. And when it works, I'm like, okay, do it. But it doesn't work for everybody. But for some people, they can snap it on and they know how to. And Jack James Busa was so amazing. And I also picked him because he's like one of the best glam singers in the world. You know, he has a band called Uni, which I don't know. They might be managed by Sean Lennon. They're connected to him somehow, they are amazing in their own thing. You should see their music videos and stuff if you haven't. Uni, which is pronounced like it's spelled like uni, like unisex or whatever. And they are amazing. They're like the New York band to watch. And and when I heard them and saw him, I knew I want a part of this now. Because I ain't going to be able to get this guy in a year or two from now. You know, they're going to blow up like Oasis or something, you know. But right now, yeah, and I did my, you know, being a DJ, I had to do my research because I like musicians and I want to get people. And when I told my friends in New York, they were like, "Who? How? Oh, they are amazing. How do you know about this?" I'm like, man, I had to really dig deep and like try to figure out how it is. It was like going through bins and record stores trying to figure, okay, who's the next cool person that's going to come out in New York? And I figured it out while living in Los Angeles, you know. And yeah, so. He performs a song in the movie, and it's amazing, you know. And I won't go too into detail about it, but one of the things that made me I make all my art from love, and the end of the movie is a tribute to a certain somebody that you'll see the name at the end of the movie, but that was a friend of mine who used to play, who would have been Bowie, but his career got turned sideways. Like he was really as big as it could be, amazing, unheard of glam singer from back in the day, from the 70s, and my friend passed, and I said I gotta showcase this in a movie. And when I'm like that, I'm like, okay, I don't get funded. I use my monies from my day job and that. I'm like, I'm going to put everything we have into this because it's a tribute to my friend that died, you know, that didn't get the recognition that he deserved. And this is, you know, if nothing comes out of the movie other than that, I did my job, you know.
Can we show a photo of your friend, the tribute that the Grammys gave to him?
Oh, that's another person.
Okay.
That's another person. The friend I'm talking about is a bit of a surprise, but people will see. I don't want to give it away because then they'll know what song and everything else if they do know who it is. But yeah, you know, a good friend of mine and one of the cast members, Ari Gold, who I knew from working at Patricia Field back in the day, came out and did our film, and you know, that's a tribute to him on this year's Grammy Awards because he died of leukemia, a long battle he had, and he was such a great person, you know, and you know, he was so humble. I didn't even know he was famous. He was just my friend forever. And next thing I see, tributes on the Grammys. Rolling Stone magazines does an interview with RuPaul and Billy Porter, who said that he was their entertainment mentor that they always called and got advice from. he turned around and he got Billy Porter in the actors union just so that he could get health insurance to deal with ongoing health issues. Like this was how great of a guy he was, and he just kind of filled in last second. So when he passed, the end tribute of the movie, the final thing it has to be tribute to Ari Gold for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and it's cancer, man. It robs us of too many amazing people. I'm very glad that he was able to be a part of your world for even just a little bit. That's special.
So am I, and I got to thank an old friend, Delicia Glam, who was in the movie, who brought him, to set and said, "Put him in." I was like, "All right, let's do this." Yeah.
Now, I know in the film you had sent me a couple of snippets. Was there anything that you wanted to kind of talk about or line up to show?
Okay, so this is how it works when you're working with bigger film companies and stuff. They believe in this film as much as I do, but they're like, look, we can't give much away. Like you can't go and give out scenes. They have the trailer, but let's focus on snippets so you can get a quick feel. Flash. Nobody's seen this, not even the cast. Cast have been wanting to see themselves for a while. They haven't seen this film yet. So it's really, really quick snippets. And it's just basically what we're showing is, this is the stuff that some experiences that ongoing life of somebody living in the LGBTQ scene in New York has to experience, and it's seen through the eyes of a straight man that has to live through it. It's almost like brother from another planet trying to live in the shoes of a drag queen and going through it. So you're gonna see some quick things here, and we can talk about it afterwards. But definitely, I think some of the greatest moments in the movie are yet to be seen. You're going to have to see the movie, and this just gives you a really quick snippet. So.
Well, here's one with a nun and a devil on the street.
Well, he now viewed the world like an unfaithful wife, and the way he looked on him.
Okay.
I gotta see. Let me just walks the shape like that.
This is the full circle. So the devil was played by Daquan Glover, who's a big stylist in New York and was my assistant at Patricia Field and is in The Little House That Could. The guy that says prima donna, he's playing a character named Greg, and Greg was one of the main characters in Scumbag. He played Ryan, and Jack James Busa as Jordan, aka Mr. Sister. And without going into it too much, that is a famous pier in New York called Chelsea Piers, which is known for essentially pier queens, which are gay voguers that go there and they cruise and guys pick up guys on that dock all the time, and that's a famous place. And I do everything, pretty much all my films, guerrilla. I don't, we just did it. And New York's easy to do that,
That's pretty cool that you did that. Tell me about this scene here. I'm going to play it.
Dude looks like a lady. Go back to Jersey. Talk to me, bro. Bro, talk to me.
This looks like you shot it really, really early in the morning.
So early. It was at the crack of dawn. And, I think I found one of the two alleys in all of New York, because believe it or not, New York City doesn't have any alleys. There are two, and all those things in movies is a lie. If it probably says they shot it in Los Angeles or something, but I found the two, and this one nobody knows, so I'm not going to give it away. But it's basically experiencing gay bashing. It's an awful thing, and it still goes on. And the gay basher, Idar, and he was amazing person, and he runs a martial arts school in Norway. Flew all the way from Norway to do this. How do I know this? Is I never talk about this on things, and I haven't done it in all of COVID. But I'm an actual Jeet Kune Do instructor, a level 1 instructor under Eric Carr, whose teacher was Jerry Poteet, who was an elite student of Bruce Lee. So I'm a third generation Bruce Lee instructor, but the level 1, which means I don't have my own school. And I went to the Long Beach karate tournament, which is the most famous tournament in California, where Bruce Lee was discovered. And I was the first person from our school to compete. Me and my friend Brandon Ruckus, who was also in Scumbag, and the guy who kind of like beat everybody up was that guy, and we stayed friends. And I'm like, look, man, he wanted to get in the film, and he was a choreographer, a fight choreographer, and a stuntman, and everything else. And he was going to be in Scumbag, but it didn't work out. So he's like, he got on the plane and he flew out for this from Norway. And yeah,
that is so cool. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. You know, I actually had forgotten that you were, you know, capable of kicking my ass or anybody else's. That's pretty awesome.
No, I gotta say, like this is the one thing. The longer I've been doing this, the more I realize, hey, you don't want to get in fights, period. And you never know who's going to be stronger than you, and it's not going to be who you think. And there's so many factors: who's crazy, who's suicidal, who's homicidal, who likes to eat pavement for fun. Like, I think the toughest guy in the world that I would never want to fight would be Evel Knievel.
Oh yeah.
You know, he's not like he's intimidating. So there's so many factors. So I don't think of myself as a superhero or anything, but hopefully I'd be able to like get out of a situation. God forbid it happens, you know, but like, yeah, that's the one thing. And I see it with UFC. All these guys are like, I want to be a UFC guy and blah, blah, blah. And they go and you know, they get hurt eventually, you know. There's only so many Mike Tysons in the world. And let's face it, I'm not him. You know, I'm not even in that category. So until I'm in that kind of category, who's been like that probably before they were even a boxer, I'm not going to play off I'm some tough guy. That's just something I do to kind of keep my mind and my wellness together.
No, for sure. And that actually leads us into this next clip.
Idar is. He is one of those guys. And
I'm always getting into fights on your shift.
I love that.
Her. So that's Katrina Del Mar. She's a famous lesbian filmmaker, and she came in and she played a character that I based on real life. I knew a lot of really tough lesbian bouncers in New York, and they were tougher than the guys, you know. And the person she's with is Jack Shafto, who played an FBI officer in Scumbag. You know, again, the person that flew out from Los Angeles to be in our scene. And just to let you know how crazy it was when we were shooting, we shot the film in 12 days. And our last day was the day before New York's lockdown for COVID. So we were the last film made in New York. And I was losing locations left and right the last day, where I had to find new locations as we were going. And we didn't know what we were getting into. There weren't even masks out yet, you know, and you didn't even see people wearing masks on the street or anything. But we were like getting nervous because we were starting to hear about this thing. But all the people that did it was like, we're going to do this movie no matter what. We're in this, and we got to do this. And that's how my crew works. Like my crew, Eric Ragan, he's like he's with me on Scumbag, and same with Ken Fee and stuff, you know. And Kenneth Shaw too. Kenneth Shaw's a great guy, and you know, yeah.
You had a lot of great people, and I mean, it's so fortunate that you were able to do this before lockdown, because I mean, you have this crowd scene here. Like, there's absolutely no way you could have shot that in lockdown, in quarantine, you know. There's absolutely no way. Or, you know, the other snippet I wanted to show was the parade.
Yeah, so these are very short snippets of longer scenes, but like you know, that bar, No Fun, unfortunately, you know, they are not around. They closed down during COVID. You know, there's another store that's in the movie that closed down during COVID. So it's like we were like the last documents of anything going on in their place. It's sad, the whole situation, you know, that's gone on.
Absolutely. You know, in Toronto, we've also lost a few bars to COVID as well. You know, it's really frustrating, and I'm glad that you were able to immortalize some of these places in film because, you know, I can tell already that Mr. Sister is going to be an amazing film. There's one last snippet I want to show because, you know, again, your filmmaking is so powerful that even in a snippet, I feel like I'm getting so much story. Check this out, guys.
It's a small world we live in, and we got to be a little more accepting of everybody.
You're kind of like our local superhero right now. And if you were a superhero, what would your name be?
Let's say Mr. Sister.
Like how engaging. That's 10 seconds. I'm so focused and interested in what's happening.
That sums it up. And I just want to give a shout out, especially since he flew all the way from Norway. I just wanted to get his name right because I had to look it up on my phone here. The guy from that played the Gay Basher, Idar Dragon Steijdal is his name. Remember that name. He's going to be a big action superhero, action actor in the future. And yeah, and our film was shot, you know, by Cody Stauffer. He's a good friend, and he did an amazing job. We shot it in 8K RAW. So if anybody like is a tech head out there, that's like 20 terabytes of just footage, you know.
Wow.
I had like 46 shuttle drives with me as I was doing this. Maybe I used 20 of them and a 20 terabyte drive and dumping that stuff back and forth. It was crazy, you know, but I wanted to see what it would be like to shoot a film in 8K. Like they don't even make Hollywood movies like that. So even though I do things on a budget, we shoot with the best technical things imaginable. I learned my lesson because, you know, Little House That Could was shot with the SD, you know, and like it became, it's hard. It's hard to get that around. And I will say Little House That Could is actually is coming out like next month on Out TV in Europe for this app that's like a big LGBT app in all of Europe. Like it's being launched now. So it's like the films keep going. And we're just excited about this. I'm sorry I talked so long on your show. Oh my God, I talked to you for weeks.
That's okay, Mars. I'm enjoying everything you have to say here. And you know, it's my show, so we can go over an hour if I want. And I totally want to if you do. Because there's so much to learn about, you know, you and your process and, you know, each film. Like, I feel like, you know, I'm kind of being let in on a secret here, you know? It's exciting.
I want to say hi to Wolfman and hi to Brian Matthews, my old promoter from Evil Mondays. Always love seeing you. And yeah, I can't wait to hang out with all my old friends and watch this movie somewhere.
Well, absolutely. We miss you so much. Guys, if you have any questions for Mars, hit the comment section right now because I'm paying very close attention to them and I am bringing them up for Mars to see. So if there's anything you really want to know or you just want to say hi, please, this is your time to do it. You know, this show is just as much for you guys as it is for Mars.
Oh, and you asked me, is the movie coming out June 15th, Mr. Sister? That's our tentative date, but it can't be any later than July. So it's going to be like some point between June 15th and July. And it will be available to everybody when that happens. And I'm still working out if we're going to do a screening beforehand. If we do, you know, and we might do some Europe festivals still. I'm not sure, you know, like there is a rule where if you get released in North America, you can still play in Europe. But the distributors, they realized we need to put this out now. And we didn't want to play film festivals that were online. It just defeated the purpose. Film festivals are for people that, you know, I love film festivals, but it's essentially to try to get noticed to get a distribution deal. But we have the distribution deal, so whether they play it in theaters or they're going to play it however they're playing it, it's going to kind of do the same thing, you know, except it's like being directed at us as opposed to somebody else that charges us and all our friends to come out. Not to say I understand that's their business and that's what they do. And I've been at a film festival at least once every year since 2013. It's like a nonstop tour for these films. So yeah,
that's amazing. Living in Exile wants to know if you're already writing your next film.
I always write these films in my head, and that's why I have lead poisoning. But no, I have a couple films on the go, and it's kind of weird because I feel like I jinxed myself because last time we were in New York, I think I showed Scumbag at that sold out theater at Cinecycle, and you asked me a question what the next one was, and I told them it was this horror film and all these people I was going to have involved, and And I wrote that film, but I ended up writing this other film for an actor that was supposed to be in both and ended up not being in any last second. And I just ended up running with this Mr. Sister film. So I think by telling you what film I was going to make, I ended up not making that one. So I'm not going to say which one, but I have about 3 in my head, and one would be shot in Scarborough, which would be fun to work with my friends in Toronto and like do something. And one would be. I actually have a whole bunch of films. There's always, but they're features and they're original ideas. And they're all kind of in the vein of Mars. Like there's going to be some kind of comedy in it, and there's going to be music and everything. So yeah, but if I was going to base things on my life, you got my life in New York working at a store. You've got my life in Toronto when I was like graduating from film school. It would kind of make sense to make my life when I was a kid. Living in Scarborough, and I saw all the crazy stuff. Like I saw crazy stuff that nobody ever wrote about back then. And, it's kind of like a hood in a way. And I wear it with a badge of honor. I'm like, I'm not from Mississauga, I'm from Scarborough. And when I had problems in Brooklyn and New York, when people were doing the gay bashing thing on a straight guy, I'd be like, dude, I'm from Scarborough. And it would allow me to like look ahead. Is there somebody running ahead? Is there a group going to jump me or what?
Yep.
Like that kind of stuff would go on. So it's not all like that. There was a beautiful part of Scarborough and there was that. So I knew both, and I always tell people, all you got to do is think of Snow the Informer and you'll know my youth. That was what it was like.
That's saying something for
yeah, but it did teach me to be a DJ. What they say, to get out of the ghetto, you become a rapper, a DJ, or whatever. You become a rapper, or a DJ, or a drug dealer. I became a goth DJ, So, but I learned the skills from the hip hop guys, and it was at CHRY. Like so I even when I did my goth nights, I beat match perfect, and I knew about DJing because it was like I'm the guy who sacrificed my school money to buy 1200s and practice every day forever, and I still do that.
Damn straight. Well, and it's so obvious that your love of music is just so informed by a lifetime of loving it. I mean, that's how I really got to know you, because we would talk about music, and it was always outside of the box, outside of the norm, obscure, atypical music history. And now, coming up, and this is where I kind of want to move from Mr. Sister to your music. You have World Domination Records, and you have some really exciting things coming up in, I believe, in July.
Yeah. So how that happened is, people know me as a DJ. People know me as a filmmaker. They know me as a filmmaker that worked with musicians. They don't really know me as a musician because I kind of put my guitar down and haven't done much in a long time. And to be quite honest, I know musicians that are a lot better than me. That's their whole identity. And I'm not trying to compete with that. But when I was in New York, and even in Toronto, I had a band called ATD Convention, which got signed to Furnace Records, which was like an industrial band that played Death in the Underground once. That was my first band, and then I played in a bunch of like other projects, but like the one that rang a bell was the Millionaires, which was like Daniel from the Furies, which was to me the biggest Toronto goth band of all time. That was the local band, and that was like falling into Britpop and glam rock, and they like swayed, and that's what we did, and we played this and we pursued it, and it was our life. And Rob Sanzo was in it, and there's a song from Mr. Sister from the Millionaires and Scumbag. But then when I moved to New York, I'm like, okay, you know what? This is a test on myself. I got to do a band of my own, and I'm going to do this. And I formed this group, Rise NYC, with Shelly Ebner. And eventually later, Elaine Benavides from this group Flesh Fetish joined as a drummer. And I put all my time and energy, like for 6 years, I kind of put DJing to the side. I did all the big parties in New York, all the biggest clubs, from the Limelight, the Main Room and stuff. I was the go-to fetish DJ in New York at one point, and they had a huge scene. So it was almost like being the fetish DJ at the best scene for the world at the time, like selling out to 4,000, 5,000 people at the Limelight, Black and Blue Ball, and playing. And I got like Toronto. You don't believe me? Go ask Burt Jackson from Way Cool Tattoos. He actually showed up on the guest list that night and was like, whoa, this is your new life, know? And so anyways, I did all that and I put it aside and I focused on Rise NYC. And it was a band that I put worked on for about at least 5-6 years, and it was our whole life. That duo, we put together this album, and like I almost have tears in my eyes because I like look at what we did and accomplished and how close we were back then, and it was just kind of like New York. The stress. It was like a marriage almost, but like we weren't dating or anything. It was just two people butting heads, like our whole existence on like this stressful life is this band that I couldn't handle it anymore. And so we never released anything, and that's what this record label is kind of, I'll go a little bit more into that, but like put an idea of where we were at. We're an electronic pop rock band influenced by Big Audio Dynamite and Garbage and like stuff like that. And right when we're doing this, Electro Clash explodes. Larry T's a friend of mine, and like I get in the center spread of Spin magazine just by showing up to his party one night. Like I'm saying, next thing, DJ Mars at Lux at Berliniumsburg or whatever, and it was like, and then we're playing on the same stage as like we're the act this week. Next week is Scissor Sisters. Next week is Fisher Spooner. Next week is Princess Superstar. All these people got like major record deals where they started playing stadiums, Yeah. And then there's a war going on. Who owns Electro Clash? Is it DJ Hell from Germany or Larry T? So Linda Lamb and Rise NYC become the only North American group. And I think Mount Sims as well from Los Angeles to get on compilations by both of those people. So we end up on a compilation with an unknown band where in my contract with Gigolo Records, it says I'm going to be on a soccer team with these people in Germany. I don't even play soccer. It reminds me of what are you talking about, soccer team? It's in the contract, and on this compilation, there's us and some unknown band nobody's heard of called Justice, Justice later. Justice later sell out Madison Square Gardens. I can't even get on the guest list to get in. We get a lawyer that's representing some new band nobody really knows. Well, an old band, but nobody really cares about called Interpol, and then Interpol and Sonic Youth. We get this lawyer, Richard Grable, and like a big office on Fifth Avenue, chandeliers, all this. And I'm like, wow, we've really made it. Jim Sclavunos from Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds produces our records. He plays drums on it. Peter Maverick Georges is the engineer who's playing in Michael Gira's from the Swans group, Angels of Light, and he's playing with Tav Falco. And then everybody from Super DJ Dimitri jumps in to help me write beats. Dimitri being from Delight, and Tioki doing remixes, and Genesis Peorage from Psychic TV coming in and doing a remix for us. We open up for Amanda Lepore and her world debut concert, sold out, biggest show in New York scene, in a long time. And we're getting in all these magazines and everything. And it felt so good. And then nothing happened. Then MP3s and record stores closed and everything just ended, and it was like, and that scene got so big, it was like Seattle's grunge, where it's like a bad thing to say you're even part of it. And now, and all the A&R and everybody leaves Brooklyn and New York, and it's not, and it was like, it was so depressing, and I was like, and I just couldn't handle it. And we stopped, and then we watched our crowds it became too tiring. And then I had a band with the drummer, Binary Star System. And like, again, we're dating, it doesn't go, fighting, bickering, everything else. Don't ever do a band like that. Like it was just hard, but we put out a couple songs that never saw the light of day. And David J ends up doing the remix. David J from Bauhaus and Love and Rockets. Yeah. So these never come out. And then I have a band called Tulips for Tina with Jack from Robin Black and the Intergalactic Rock Stars, which is kind of like a rockabilly band in a way that we did, or like rockabilly meets Johnny Thunder's, projects, and what ends up happening is like Johnny Dynell, from the owner of Jackie 60 and Mother, does the remix for us and stuff. And so it was like all this stuff happens, and I'm this guy that like I keep making albums and I don't do anything with it. I'm afraid to spend money to put them out, and I'm over it at that point. I'm burnt out and everything else. But I'm using these songs in the movies, and I'm having to call up all my old partners and say, hey, can I use this song in the movie? Let's use this song in the movie. So all my films have so many songs from me as DJ Mars, or me as the guy in these bands, that even my wife has a project called Skunk and the Roses, amazing project, and I think she's going to be on your show down the road, so I'm not going to give away too much. It's very delight, and she did it all on her own. I'm really like, all I did was I listened to it. I'm like, I'm gonna add my take of beats on it, and that was it. So it's like swing music meets delight, and it's gonna be a big dance hit album. Like, I'm not just saying that because it's my wife. It's like, this is something I would buy, to the point that I'm like, we gotta put this out on vinyl. I want to put that on vinyl, which is vinyl's so expensive. It's like you got to sell out to make your money back, and that's it. You're not getting rich off it, but it's like it's beautiful. Like it's like it sounds better. You're staring at things, and I just like. I threw away all the technology this year and decided I'm just going to be a vinyl only DJ. It's because I need to practice my beat mixing, and I like shopping for records nobody can find. And when you're paying $15 a record as opposed to $1, it means something more to me, where I memorize every groove. And I've watched things with technology where, you can be, and I see it. Everybody, like, they go and they get a laptop, they get these programs, they push the sync button, they get told what to play, and it does a good job, but it loses the life. I like the idea when you can make mistakes, and like, you can't mix house music with drum and bass and goth because the time signatures and math doesn't equate, but you can manually do it with your hand like a scratcher would, and that's what I can do. Like, even with the power went off, there's ways almost to like cue up music and stuff, and I was always a better DJ with vinyl, and there was an art to it where I would practice for 3 hours a day, and it would take, so I'm back in that. I'm finding the record stores nobody knows about. I'm spending lots of money that I won't make back, just because I like it as an art, and I'm like, okay, I want to do a record. Now I'm excited to do a record label for this, because there's not many vinyl labels, and Tower Records knows vinyl's cool because they just reopened online, as only selling vinyl. I was never a CD fan. They get scratched, you toss away the covers and everything else. But I was a big fan of vinyl. And my friend Heikki Celast, from the band Digital Poodle, the singer from Digital Poodle in Toronto, who was kind of like a mentor to me, him and Chris Toomey from New Powers, shout out to them. And he's still putting out vinyl. And I'm like, look, I want to put out vinyl. How do I do it? And he kind of schooled me, and we got like vinyl releases coming out. And what really made me decide to launch World Domination Records, which is a division of World Domination Pictures, and you can go to worlddomination.pictures, is Genesis Peorage, who helped me out. People that don't know him, they should. She, and I say he, she, you got to watch the documentary, The Ballad of Genesis and Lady J, to understand all about Pandrogyny, how involved Genesis was in the art scene and music scene. Probably the pioneer of electronic music with his group Throbbing Gristle, and then later invented Acid House, who was a big part of it with Psychic TV, and was always a part of anything changing everything. And fortunately passed away last year, and of leukemia, like one of our actors from Mr. Sister, Ari Gold. And it's weird. I didn't know much about leukemia, but seems like it's worse than COVID, and we're all trying to avoid COVID, but like this leukemia. And what happened was, when I started doing this DJ show, and I did the DJ streaming show, I was kind of almost retired, just doing reunion things for my friend Jurgen, who
Yeah.
wanted to do something possibly in the future. It says, get your thing together. We might do something. So I'm like, I didn't want to give away my music online and be like that. So then I was like, okay, let me do this. We ended up not doing our party. Maybe it will happen eventually. But I'm like, okay, I'm going to do what I like. I'm going to play music that I wouldn't necessarily play with you. That's experimental. I'm going to really push the envelope. Experimental, electronic. It's a genre-defying beast, I say, party beast. Monster Bird Machine was from a dream I had where Thelonious Monster, the jazz musician, gets together with Charlie Parker and Kraftwerk and do a party, and that's what I said. Okay, they're all die hard in their field, and that's kind of like you got your freestyle jazz, you've got like pioneers of electronic music and experimentation, and that's what I wanted to base my show on, and even the videos I put in my backgrounds for my streaming show. Which Twitch/die_J_Mars. You can watch it at midnight your time tomorrow. And I picked midnight on Fridays as an ode to the original City Limits, which helped get me into music. That and my sister Patty Powers. When you had to stay up late to watch the good stuff after hours before much music came around, when Christopher Ward was the host. So I'm like, okay, you got to stay up late if you want to get like the special stuff that I'm going out of my way to research and buy and stuff. So that was it. So then I was like, when I did this show, one of the users who does his own show called Brainwash Radio, Michael G. Stone, said, we were talking, and I'm like, oh yeah, Genesis. I have unreleased music by Genesis Peorage. When he at the time he remixed my band Rise NYC. He's like, what are you doing? Why isn't this out? You owe it to him and the world to release this. And I thought, you know what? I didn't want to be an egotist and put out my own music, but I owe it to all the people that put in all their hard work and all their time, who believed in me enough to like take a chance with me and do this stuff. I owe it to all these people involved to do this record label, whether or not it makes money. And I owe it to their fans and their families to say, this is what they do. So I'm going to be the person that releases unreleased Genesis Peorage music to the world that has a good message and the words in the song, which I don't know if you have a snippet of that song. Did you end up doing that thing of the record?
You had sent it to me, but I think I misinterpreted. I thought it was just a secret snippet for me.
Well, you can hear it. That was just proof that we have test pressings for the vinyl, but you can hear it if you go to worlddomination.pictures. The new site launched today, and go to the World Domination Records on it. It's going to send you to our Bandcamp. The single is being released in July, and it comes with, I don't call it a B-side because it's equally important. It's a split 12-inch with my other group, Binary Star System. And it has a David J mix. Fans of goth, fans of experimental music will want to pick this up. It's dub music, which people will be like, it's like reggae, which I have a new love for as well. I was always there. Maybe that's the Scarborough thing, but like more of the experimental side of the non-vocal reggae, where they just played around, like the King Tubby stuff, where you play around with echo effects. And there was a production value that Skinny Puppy took into their world and understand and appreciate it. Genesis being a big part of their world too. Genesis was the idol of all of those people, from Skinny Puppy to Ministry to whatever. I think Genesis fronted Pigface at one time too, but so it's a dub single, but it has their David J plays bass on it, Genesis with his group The Majesty, one of his She's other projects, put their take on it too, and it's amazing. And Genesis is such a genius. People say, oh, a musician is a genius. This was my dealing with Genesis on the remix. It was taking a while, and I finally said, what's going on, face to face with the person, so I can know if you're lying to me. Are you working on it or whatever? I go, what's going on with the mix? And he looked at me. She, I say he because back then Genesis was a guy, looking directly at me, said, I'm remixing it right now, Mars. Your guitar is slightly out of tune. I'm changing the tuning. I'm moving the drum to the center of the speaker, and okay, it's done. The engineer stuff, that will take minutes. and he did the remix in his head. I've never met a person that does a remix in their head, and I could tell they weren't lying. And they really did whip up the engineer stuff like that. I've never met anybody that in tune with music that they could remix a song fully in their head as if there's the dials and the EQs and the thing. But Genesis was that person that did that. And that's why Genesis fronted all these great groups that spawned so many other great groups, from Coil to Chris and Cozy. And that all came out of working with Genesis, you know? And Lady J was a friend of mine too. So it's like I wanted to. This is an ode to them, and the album, the single is a tribute to them. And then the same, you can purchase it today. And you know, I'm transparent with all my things. I'm not doing this for money. Everybody involved gets, you know, piece, you know, but it's like maybe it makes its money back, you know. But I want the world to hear this, you know. And you can get the MP3s now, but you can wait to get the. I think it's beautiful artwork, beautiful vinyl. The artwork for the Binary Star System side was done by a New York performance artist, one of the greatest pop artists ever in the last 20 years, Muffinhead, who's also in a music video for Binary Star System. We have a music video that we did a while ago that was shot at Lit, where the only things around us were real statues. If I was a dishonest person, I'd walk out with it. Real statues by H.R. Geiger, you know? And there's a baby statue in the music video by H.R. Geiger. And then my friends Troy and Laeta from Toronto send Deborah and me these T-shirts one day with the baby on it from the music video, not knowing that baby was in our music video, and not knowing that we have any connection to that. And I'm like, this is just how life works, you know. These people from Toronto sent us that. So, oh my gosh. Yeah,
it's amazing. I know you sent me the video, but it's so heady and languid. But I want to show just a little bit of it because it is a lovely video.
Sure.
But here's a bit of Binary Star System. There we go. Sorry. My finger hit that a bit fast, but there were the Geiger babies right there.
Yeah, and that's how crazy it was, how fast New York is, that I have a Warhol superstar as my go-go dancer in there, and I can't even remember their name. One of the last living, I think they're alive still, Warhol superstars. The other one, Warhol female superstar alive is Penny Arcade, who stars in Scumbag, you know? Oh, so it's kind of like they said, like, my world is their world, but like later on, you know? So some of the people, they just kind of hang out and tie it in. And Muffinhead, the performance artist I was talking about, that's how he always looks. And that was him in the music video, you know, just happened to be there that day. Let's shoot a music video. You know, it was a party that I was doing in New York. And without taking all the credit, Elaine K. Benavides is really the brains behind that track. You know, I just play guitar on it and kind of help her with the arrangement. But yeah,
You know, it's a really beautiful track, guys. I mean, if you get a chance, take a listen to the entire thing. It's very heady, it's very beautiful and very mellow. And you know, putting that into the studio this week was very nice to listen to. But I think at this point, it's a little too chill to listen to its entirety. But it is amazing, and I'm really excited to hear everything that you've done with Binary Star and Rise NYC. I mean, I will probably get the MP3 and the vinyl itself because, you know, I do like to have it in hard copy as well. I encourage everyone to go and check it out. One more time for everybody, it is all available at World Domination Pictures, worlddomination.pictures, correct, Mars?
Yes.
And
the photo is me from, like, put it this way, the Rise NYC track was from 2004, and the Binary Star System track was from 2007, and they're not released till 2021. So 17 years, 14 years later, you know, finally released to the world. I can't see everything from where I'm sitting, but what were the questions? I thought I saw Brian Matthews and somebody else asked me something at one point. I don't want to ignore it.
No worries. Let's see. Brian is saying, seeing this makes me realize how much I miss interesting people. Say hi to Deborah. Hi, Deborah, and congratulations on your success in pursuing your dreams and being true to yourself. Monica's asking when COVID is over and you have some time between projects, will you come back to visit Toronto and do a big kick-ass throwback DJ night? Because we will all come out and dance.
Oh, thanks, Monica. And yeah, I'd love to. I'm ready to. Like, come on. It's like never in my life in the 30 years I've been spinning can I say, hey, this is my record label, Deborah and me, and we were gonna put this out. You know, like come out and listen to a record, because I can't tell you the amount of record parties I've thrown for other people over time, but I'd like to have one for ourselves, and it would be great. And you can hear the full tracks tomorrow night on my streaming show, but please. Join the Twitch, subscribe to the Twitch at die_J_Mars, because I don't see your comments. I can't write you and talk to you while I'm DJing unless you do it that way. Yes, it does get replayed on Facebook, but I don't see that stuff on Facebook because it's too many things to stream at once. And I'm playing live music. It's going to run out and the club's going to go silent and everyone's going to leave. I gotta go to the It's like you can't go to the bathroom and the song will stop or skip. You know, that's the worst feeling. But like, yeah, so I would love to come back. And Brian, I miss you too. Brian was the owner of the Anarchist Cocktail, a really great club I wish I could have been a part of, but I had just moved to New York around that time, and he was my promoter. It was people like Brian that pushed me to start up parties like Evil Mondays, and you know, it was the goth party of Toronto. What can I say? It was like I dedicated my life to it, and I'm happy to know like Darkness Visible carried the torch. He let me guest DJ on one of his things, and I'm like, yeah, you got it. You're doing what I was doing then, where you're like, it's about the music and about like being diehard to what you're doing, you know. So it's nice to know. But these days, like, I'm kind of doing my streaming show. Other than tomorrow, which I'm doing a glambient set. What does that mean? It means I dress glam and I DJ ambient music that fits with my tracks, you know, because that's what Genesis Bjorge told me he would do, DJ glambient set. So it's an ode to Genesis. Tomorrow night. But it changes from time to time, and I try to push myself as a DJ and play like almost weird stuff that would be harder to DJ. So it's kind of like I like to go down as a DJ's DJ and not necessarily a DJ for the people. I'm like, I don't know. I get massive ADD, and I'm just try to like I concentrate on the art of it, and I like to play new stuff, you know. And I'm getting into 7 inches these days. I've never bought those in my life till now, but like there's a whole underground world for that. You know, but no offense to people that are DJing the new school style, and it gets you doing what you're doing all to you. I'm not a hater. I'm just trying to do what got me going when I started, you know.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's the beauty of music. You can just shift it from one spectrum to the other, and you can have so much fun with it. And I'm really looking forward to being in the Twitch, you know, virtual chat room tomorrow night, because it's really exciting to listen to what you're doing. The visuals are amazing. In fact, I've noticed every single week that you have done it, you've shown a little bit of the hilarious House of Frightenstein in your montage and collage. And
House of Frightenstein changed my life. That was where it all started.
I love that show. We could go on and on about that show just on its own. It's so good. I love it.
I got some secret things with that too, but that's down the road, hopefully.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that show changed my life, and that was where I'm happy, proud, being Canadian, being like growing up with that. But I think people in Buffalo got it too. I think and some people in California got that show too. I think I heard, but yeah, so I'm excited. But what I'm really most excited about right now is Mr. Sister coming out. We're all excited, the whole cast and crew. It's an amazing cast and crew. I think it's an award-winning movie. It's I can't say it's the best thing I've done. It's the best thing I've done production-wise, but I think all my films are equally important, and they all have their own roads they go. And I think all my casts from every film could get along with one another and be in the same room. And there'll be more stuff where I intertwine the people in the future as well. And I don't forget when people help me out. And it's just a longer process. People can't see my big plan, but like I wrote it down, I got this big plan. That's why there's the record label. That's why there's the film company. That's why, there's like clothes coming. There's all kinds of things, but it's like, I just want to do it for art's sake, and because it's like, I don't know, I don't have a kid right now, and so these projects are kind of like my kids,
Yeah,
like,
these are your babies.
they're my babies, and people are like, "Hey, I got a script for you. I want you to do my film, or I want your script and stuff." And I'm like, I can't. It's like giving away my kids. Like I can't adopt your kid right now, and I gotta, and it's like. It's just because it's like anything I do takes up about 5 years of my wife and my time and all of our money. And I've got so many ideas that I could get going to the rest of my life, even if I don't come up with any more ideas just from the stuff that I have. And it mainly, it's probably from partying till so long and not doing these ideas. Now I have all these ideas, like once I opened my mouth, I couldn't stop talking, and it's like, so I just like film after film after film. Let's just keep banging them out, But like I take them all serious. I'm not trying to rush them, but they're all things that are to my heart. They all start with love. The music starts with love. The movies start with love. My interactions with the people that I bring in. That's how it's done.
Absolutely, and it really reads through in everything that you're doing. And I'm so excited to have a part 2 with you, because there's still so much more that we can discuss with Mr. Sister, with your filmmaking and with your music, and everything that you're doing in those elements. I wish I could keep going on, but I truly need to, I need to get going. I'm so sorry, Mars.
Yeah.
I want to thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us tonight. Everybody, I want to thank you so much for hopping on the comments. And if you have any other questions afterwards, feel free to reach out to either Mars or myself. And when all the information is more solidified about the release for Mr. Sister, I will share everything with all of you. So will Mars. And we're going to keep everybody posted. Please go to all the URLs that we are showing tonight for everything music related and film related. And Mars, thank you so much for everything. I'm so proud of you. You are just killing it.
Thank you. And anybody going to New York, you want a free screening, go and watch The Little House That Could, May 29th at Theater for the New City at noon. And anybody that wants to see The Scumbag, well, you can see it. You can see it on pretty much every platform. If you have no money, you can see it on Tubi.tv. And if you want to see it in a movie theater in England, once they open up, you can go to ourscreen.com and you can request to see it there. You get about 10 friends that want to see it. It will play at any movie theater out there. It's licensed to play movie theaters in England. And look out for the director's cut coming soon, and Mr. Sister coming out June 15th everywhere in North America, and record label coming out in July. But you can get the snippets of the two tracks. You could download the MP3s today. You can buy them on our Bandcamp. Just go to worlddomination.pictures. And other than that, Skunk and the Roses, the other artist on coming out with a record on World Domination Pictures, World Domination Records. She performs the song in Mr. Sister, and she has a full album. I think she's going to be on your show to talk about that in the future. I think it's coming out a couple weeks after our first release, and it's going to be exciting. A new music video for that will come out soon too.
Absolutely. And I will keep you all posted on that. Deborah is a fantastic actress. I have to put that in there. I didn't get a chance to see that earlier. She's not only a fantastic actress, but an amazing person. I have a wonderful story about how I met her and how amazing she was to me, but I'll save that for my episode with her later.
I will add that she is how I'm able to do these great films, because I think a certain way, which sometimes is so far off the deep end, it's almost offensive, almost kind of rude comedy stuff, whatever. But then her idols are from glamorous Hollywood from the past, and she's a tap dancer and ventriloquist and everything else. So I watched this and I'm like, how can I incorporate you in my film? And then when I incorporate her with my world, that's where the juxtaposition happens, and it becomes okay. There's a family oriented thing. There's a esteemed part of the film. There's messages and stuff mixed with this world, and that they blend, and that's how you get essentially a Mars film right now. Is I have to take both those worlds, and that's what we end up having.
And it's pure magic. Honestly, I'm so excited for everything that you're doing right now and everything that's coming up. Mars, I want to thank you so much for being my guest tonight. Again, keep me posted on everything you're doing. I'm going to go to Bandcamp and go get some music after this. And I will see you in Twitch tomorrow night in your Twitch room.
Thank you. Thanks again. Love everybody. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Mars. There's one more comment. I just want to say that Wolfman wishes you all the best, Mars. You are doing important work. And that, I can't even top that. He's absolutely right. Mars, thank you so much, and we'll see you soon, okay?
Thanks, Wolfman. Thanks, Liz.
Thank you. I want to thank all of you for tuning in tonight. It's turned into almost a 2-hour expose with Mars, and I couldn't be happier. You all have been amazing guests, and you know, your comments really do kind of keep us going, and they keep the show moving forward. If you if you want, definitely feel free to watch this again on YouTube, or, you can now go to The Carney Show on Wednesdays to watch past episodes of Planet Lizzdom. We are starting from the beginning. So next week we will be showing episode 3. It's been wonderful. There's amazing things happening over at The Carney Show on Twitch. So please feel free to check it out. Jeff Peterson is an amazing host, and he is bringing a lot of great content. And, if you really like what I'm doing and you've enjoyed, watching tonight, feel free to send me a little bit of love at paypal.me/Lizzdom. It does help me to create great content for you. It's helping me to upgrade my my tools and my technology as well for you. So please don't hesitate to send a little love. I always appreciate it. And in the meantime, be good to yourself, exercise a little bit of self-care and do something nice for yourself this weekend if you can. And in the meantime, just keep being amazing, and let me find this video that I want to close out with because I've forgotten how to see. Guys, I want to thank you so much for being here. Thank you very much for tuning in, taking part, and turning on, because you truly never know who's going to land right here on Planet Lizzdom, and it's getting more and more exciting every week. Take care, everybody. I'll see you soon.